first time ever.
Warning acts of terror.
We are ready to engage with a two-state solution.
Some of his most senior cabinet members.
Advise us what our new economic age.
Burgers, cola, and tower. India's complex dance with American power. Let's begin with a spark. What's happening around us today? A new war or an old one with a louder voice? Tariff war. Now, when Donald Trump slapped tariffs on Indian exports during his presidency, it wasn't just an economic move. It was a spark that caught in the dry tinder of public sentiment. A spark that ignited almost instantly a familiar fire, economic nationalism in India. Now, within hours, the digital echo chamber lit up with a rallying cry: no McDonald's and no Coca-Cola. Simple words, easy to remember and emotional. Now, to some, this might sound like a casual protest, an act of symbolic defiance against an economic slight. But like most things in geopolitics, the real story is layered. So let's peel it back. The tariffs and the trigger. Trump's tariffs didn't come in isolation. They were part of his America Move doctrine, a bold, sometimes blunt attempt to protect US industry and narrow trade deficits. For India, the implications were twofold. Economic. The tariffs hit a range of exports: steel, aluminium, textiles, industries that together sustain millions of livelihoods. Symbolic. It felt like a diplomatic slap to a nation that in the previous decade has been championed as a strategic partner. Now, here's the thing: you can't boycott a tariff. There's no counter tariff in aisles of your neighborhood market, but you can literally walk past a McDonald outlet. You can leave a Coke bottle on the shelf. That's why, almost instinctively, the protest energy moved towards American consumer brands. Why McDonald's and Coca-Cola? It wasn't random, right? These brands are more than products. They are cultural shorthand for the US itself. They represent a style of life, fast, uniform, globally standardized. Boycotting them is easy, visible, and satisfying in its own way. You don't have to explain a graph or an economic model. You just say no burgers, no Coke, and your stance is instantly understood. It's economic symbolism in its purest form. Now, here's the twist: American luxury still thrives. Here's where the story takes an interesting turn, one that reveals something important about how we protest and what we actually target. While fast food counters and soda shelves become the front lines of this consumer boycott, another corner of United States India commerce quietly carried on, untouched, even celebrated. Yes, here comes the Trump Towers. Take the Trump Towers in Delhi NCR, twin skyscrapers over 600 feet tall, some of the tallest in the region, a glass facade that glints in the sun, bold, linear architecture that screams confidence. Inside, floor to ceiling windows pour daylight into rooms, revealing sweeping views of the city, a 9-hole golf course, and the distant Aravallis. So every inch of it is designed to project prestige. And here's the catch: this isn't the America of fries and fizz. This is the America of aspiration, exclusivity, and luxury branding. So, two Americas are in India. This contrast reveals a fascinating reality. India doesn't have one American presence, it has two. One, the everyday America: McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Levi's, Apple stores. Brands woven into daily life for the middle class. Easily visible, widely accessible, and therefore easy to boycott. And the number two is the aspirational America. Trump Towers, Ivy League, universities, premium tech partnerships. Exclusive, expensive, and often beyond the reach of mass protest. Carries prestige even during political friction. The first is vulnerable to street level sentiment, the second floats above it. The sociology of boycott, let's understand this also. Economic boycotts are rarely about the total financial damage, they're about visible signaling. If you shut down a McDonald's outlet, people see it. If Coke sales dip in a local store, it's again tangible. But a glass tower in a gated compound, that doesn't make for the protest footage. It doesn't sit in the average citizen's everyday field of vision. And so, even in the middle of nationalist fervor, it remains untouched. The boycott energy flows towards the visible and familiar, not towards the distant and aspirational. So, there is a touch of irony in all this. The same Donald Trump, whose tariffs triggered Indian anger, has his name in gold across some of India's most exclusive addresses. Think about that. The political dispute makes the headlines, but the architectural statement remains quietly selling a dream. From a geopolitical lens, this is a masterclass in a layered soft power. Mass market brands shape everyday habits. Prestige projects shape long term aspirations. And these two layers don't always rise or fall together. Let's see the long game. Boycotts by nature are bursts of energy. They flare with an event, a tariff, a statement, a diplomatic slide, and fade as normalcy return. Meanwhile, trade flows resume. Defense cooperation meetings are scheduled, joint technology ventures are signed, American tech giants keep hiring in India, Indian IT firms keep expanding in the United States. And somewhere in Delhi NCR, those 600-foot glass towers continue to rise above the horizon, catching the same sunset they caught before the tariff announcements. So, what's the takeaway? The no McDonald's and no Coca-Cola movement was never just about burgers and soda. It was a statement about reciprocity, about how nations respond when they feel targeted. But it also revealed something crucial. Not all symbols of American influence are treated equally. Mass market brands, visible and relatable, are easy to reject in a wave of sentiment. Luxury symbols, guarded by gates and tied to aspiration, are often immune. In that gap lies the complexity of our modern relationship with global power, where you can frown at a burger today and still dream about